In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do a reverse chain stitch. A reverse chain stitch is perfect for outlining objects, or you can even use it by doing rows of them to fill in an object or any empty space. It's one of my favorite stitches. So to do this, we're going to grab some embroidery thread, and in this video I am using 6 strands total, and I did that by taking apart my thread, doing 3 and 3, pulling out 3 strands and then tying the 2 ends together so that my needle is locked there in the middle. So to create the reverse chain stitch, you're going to start with one small stitch, just a straight stitch over the beginning of your pattern, and you can see I've got the knot there stopping the thread from pulling all the way through on the back. So I'm just creating one small little stitch. Then I'm going to bring the needle up one stitch length ahead, and however far up I bring my needle, that is how big my chain stitch is going to be. Then I'm going to slide the needle underneath that tiny little stitch that I made and pull it through. That little stitch was just an anchor stitch for our first chain loop. Then I'm going to insert the needle back down into that same hole where I had come up through the fabric. So now I'm just going to do it the same thing again. I'm bringing my needle up one stitch length ahead. I'm going to slide my needle underneath that entire chain link. So it's going underneath both of those stitches. Pull it all the way through, and then I'm going to insert the needle back down into that same hole where the needle had come up. And I just continue doing this. So when you start out a reverse chain stitch, you always start out with that little anchor stitch like we did. And then after that, the chain links connect to each other. So you slide your needle underneath each chain link. You are not inserting the needle into the fabric when you slide the needle underneath the chain link. It's just sliding under. So I'm going to bring my needle up, pull it all the way through. Then I'm sliding my needle underneath that chain link. I'm not going through the fabric. Pull that needle and thread all the way through, and then insert the needle back into the fabric, into that same hole where that stitch began. I love this stitch because it honestly looks a lot more complex than it is. Like, it looks really cool, but it's actually so easy to do and kind of therapeutic because the only thing you have to really worry about is how far ahead you bring that needle up from underneath the fabric, determining how big your chain stitch is, and then that's it. If you want your chain stitch to look thinner, you can either use a smaller count of thread, like 2 strands, or if you want it to be thicker, you can use more thread. And then you can also vary how big you make your chain links. But that is the reverse chain stitch. It's my preferred method for any type of chain stitch that I'm creating. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more beginner-friendly embroidery tutorials, and follow along on Instagram as well. I'm always posting lots of new ideas and inspiration for embroidery, as well as tons of embroidery patterns and kits.